smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model, securing your safety, creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Promo. Your most preferred estate partner is giving a massive 20% discount on galamsey. Yes, for our Father's Day promo, Estate Masters is offering this special discount for outright purchases up till the end of September 2025.
Purchase your tracks today.
This cuts across all our available sites, and upon purchase, you get to enjoy a free indenture and free site plan. Our site visits are also free, so rush now and secure a plot of land while this offer lasts. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
The government, however, is of the view that though investigations are not yet completed, the public must be informed in very broad outlines of the facts and circumstances leading to the arrest of Air Marshal Otu and his ADC. In early December 1966, Air Marshal Otu, then commander of the Ghana Air Force, proceeded to London on duty in the company of the 16th of September 1968, Air Marshal Otu went to London on leave. Between this date and the 1st of October 1968, the Air Marshal and Naval Lieutenant Acheampong held meetings with Kwesiyama and others to formulate detailed plans for the overthrow of the National Liberation Council and the return of Nkrumah to Ghana on or about the 24th of December 1968. The Air Marshal is said to have promised that on or about the 24th of December this year, he would cause the capture of various strategic points in Ghana. Simultaneously to these operations, there was to be an announcement on the Ghana Broadcasting Network that Nkrumah had returned and was proceeding to the capital. It is significant, and on the 10th of October 1968, that is barely 10 days after the conclusion of the London meetings between the Air Marshal and Kwesiyama and his executives, 2 Soviet trawlers were spotted at Busia Island, a few miles off the Ghana coast, with a crew engaged in friendly exchanges with the fisherfolk of that island. The Russian crew have since said that they were on a monkey and parrot buying expedition. But having regard to the information now at the disposal of the government, it is believed that the trawlers were on a reconnaissance mission pursuant to the plans finalized in London between the 16th of September and the 1st of October. In this connection, it is significant that in the course of interrogation, one of the captains of the fishing trawlers admitted to the interrogators that he caused to be destroyed the logbook, the radio message pad, and all the documents which such vessels normally carry while plying on the high seas. The two trawlers now under arrest at Takoradi Harbour have been identified by some of the former Ghanaian security officers who recently returned from Guinea as two of three Soviet trawlers based at Conakry, whose officers were in regular and continuous contact with Nkrumah and his advisors. It is also significant that although the Air Marshal and his ADC returned to Ghana on the 13th of October 1968, they did not at any time before their arrest report the subversive London meetings with Kwesiama and his group.
Conceptually, an independent judiciary has always been part of Ghana's governance systems since independence. One of the most notable judges ever appointed as Chief Justice by President Nkrumah was Sir Aku Kosa.
Your Excellency, do you now affirm your willingness to accept the high office of President of the Republic of Ghana? I do.
The glorious history of Ghanaian Chief Justices would also remember Edward Akufo-Addo and Justice F.K. Apalu, to mention but a few. The first ever Chief Justice appointed under the Fourth Republic was Mr. Justice Philip Archer. He was a holdover Chief Justice from the PNDC era. His appointment as the first Chief Justice under the Fourth Republic was made and continued by Flight Lieutenant Rawlins. The Chief Justice in Ghana is also the President of the Supreme Court, the highest court of the land, which presides over all constitutional matters. The learned Justice Philip Archer will be remembered for the 31st December case, in which the Supreme Court ruled by a 5-4 decision that J.J. Rawlins' 31st December will not be celebrated as a public holiday. Unfortunately, the learned Chief Justice voted with the minority in that particular decision. The decision of the court also offended the J.J. Rawlins government. So Justice Philip Archer was succeeded by Justice Aban. Historically, Chief Justice Aban was known for taking a firm position as electoral commissioner to stick with the results of a 1970s referendum organized by the Bryan Acheampong military junta to convert Ghana into a union government of military and civilian actors. The professional bodies of the day, the Ghana Bar Association, the Ghana Medical Association, and other professional bodies and students from the National Union of Ghana Students campaigned across the country for a no vote. Justice Abana's Electoral Commission had to flee for his life because the military junta wanted him to announce a verdict for a yes vote. The rest of the story, as they say, is history. So it was with such high reputation that Justice Aban came to the seat as the Chief Justice of the Republic on 22nd February 1996, the day after P.A.N.K. Archer retired. Justice Aban was also appointed by J.J. Rawlins in his first term as constitutional president. Justice Aban's tenure did not see as much activity at the Supreme Court on constitutional issues as did the 4 years before him, because at this time, the opposition New Patriotic Party had joined Parliament in 1997. Parliament thus became the forum for political discussion. J.H. Mensah, the minority leader, however, took out a writ at the Supreme Court during Justice Aban's time. Led by his lawyer, Nana Akufo-Addo,
The two of them challenged the idea that former ministers of the immediate past presidential term did not need to appear before Parliament if the president who had been re-elected for a second term had wanted them to continue in the same portfolios that they held. So, for instance, Mr. Richard Kwame Pepra was finance minister under Rawlings' first term. J.J. Rawlings won a second term in 1996 and wanted Kwame Pepra to continue as finance minister. The position of the NDC was that in such circumstances, Kwame Pepra need not appear before Parliament's appointment committee. So, J.H. Mensah and his lawyer sued in what is now famously called J.H. Mensah versus the Attorney General. Akufo-Addo won the case for J.H. Mensah. Justice Aban did not sit, but he empaneled Justice Akins, Charles Hayfrom Benjamin, Justice Ampia, and Justice Akwa and Sophie Akufu, who is today the incumbent Chief Justice. Justice Aban was also the Chief Justice when the Supreme Court decided in the year 2000 that only photo ID cards should be used as identification cards for election 2020. That was thought to be a victory for democracy. Justice Aban it was who then swore in President Kufuor in January 2001.
In the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That
a few months later, after swearing in President Kufuor to be president, it was reported that a distinguished judge was unwell. He retired voluntarily and Justice Redu was appointed Chief Justice by President Kufuor sometime in 2001. Justice Redu came to the seat with a noble desire to cure the constitutional defect that gave no upper limit to the justices of the Supreme Court. That is to say, while the U.S. Federal Supreme Court had a maximum limit of 9 judges, all of whom sat on every constitutional case, in Ghana there was no upper limit. Sometimes the judges were 11, sometimes they were 9. Now we have 15, and it could be 20, 22, or any other number. So to cure this defect, Justice Redu decided by a practice direction that all Supreme Court judges, including himself, will sit on any and every constitutional matter, so that Supreme Court judges appointed by the NDC and Supreme Court judges appointed by the NPP will all sit on every constitutional matter, even if there were 11 of them. Then came the first opportunity to apply this practice direction. It was a case in which Chachu Chikata, a lawyer, had challenged the establishment of the so-called fast-track courts. Mr. Chikata was of the view that the fast-track courts were unconstitutional and that they had been created to railroad the cases of political opponents of Mr. Kufuor and to jail them quickly by ignoring the rules of justice. So Chief Justice Redu empaneled himself and all the judges of the Supreme Court. Chachu Chikata won the Supreme Court verdict by a 5-4 decision. Justice Redu voted with a minority of 4. Pandemonium broke. The Attorney General Nana Akufo-Addo was unhappy. He held a press conference where he disagreed with the majority decision and indicated that he will appeal the decision, setting the stage for a Supreme Court review. There were 10 Supreme Court justices at the time. One of them was unwell, so couldn't sit for the case, so 9 of them sat. According to the practice direction, all of the 10 had to sit if there was a review, and because 10 was an even number, President Kufuor was invited to appoint another judge to make it the odd number of 11. So, 11 justices were ready for the review. The new 2 joined the old 4. The old 5 stuck together. So, the verdict was 6-5 against Chachu Chikata. The original decision of the Supreme Court of 9 had been overturned on a review. The fast-track court stood. Chachu was tried for causing financial loss to the state. He was convicted and jailed, later pardoned by President Kufuor, but eventually mounted a successful appeal against his conviction at the Court of Appeal. So today, Mr. Chikata is not an ex-convict. So that was the eventful part of Justice Redu's tenure as Chief Justice. The practice direction that every Supreme Court judge must sit has been abolished, and the status quo ante was restored. The Chief Justice will now empanel judges for each Supreme Court case, and the Chief Justice himself or herself may decide to sit or not. Justice Redu retired on 19th June 2003, and Justice Akwa, who actually led the majority opinion of the Supreme Court review in the Chachu case, became the new Chief Justice, also appointed by President Kufuor, and he was appointed on the 4th of July 2003. Unfortunately, Justice Kingsley Acquah became the first Chief Justice to die in office sometime in 2007. That paved the way for President Kufuor to make history. He appointed to the seat the first female Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. So, enter Chief Justice Georgina Wood. One of the earliest tension-packed responsibilities for the new Lady Chief Justice was to see the election of 2008 go to a close context with some legal gymnastics in the background. Eventually, she was called upon to swear in the winner, Professor J.E.A. Mills. Then came election 2012. Controversy struck after the losing candidate did not accept the results and instead decided to file an election petition at the Supreme Court before Chief Justice Georgina Wood and the rest of the Supreme Court judges. Justice Georgina Wood had to empanel the court to hear the election petition at the end of December 2012. She also had to prepare to swear in the new president whose election was being challenged and whose swearing in had been boycotted by the entire opposition and the losing candidate. So what did Georgina Wood actually do? She did both. She empaneled the courts to hear the election petition, and she also proceeded to the Independence Square on the 7th of January to swear in President Mahama. So then came the biggest test for Justice Georgina Wood. She did take two major defining steps. One was unpopular with a large majority of lawyers within Ghana, but the other was popular with the general public and has had far-reaching consequences.
And I hope you forgive me for dwelling on this. Her decision to broadcast the proceedings of the celebrated election petition, in which I was plaintiff, together with the Vice President and our late lamented colleague, Tanka Obeche-Bilamte, was an important moment in our nation's political evolution. It exposed the vagaries of our electoral system and compelled greater vigilance on the part of the activists of my party, which undoubtedly helped us achieve the famous victory of 7 December 2016.
The other matter that was unpopular with lawyers was that Georgina Wood did not empanel herself for the election petition. Therefore, on an important matter like the election petition, Ghanaians did not get to know the legal position of the head of the judiciary. The lawyers were unhappy, but the live coverage thrilled everyone. So then came Justice Sophia Akuffo, another female to become the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, appointed by President Akufo-Addo. Today, Justice Sophia Akuffo has run her full tenure, and this story is about who becomes the next Chief Justice of Ghana, to be appointed either in the next few days, in the next few months, but certainly before January 2020.
Recommended that in future the rules should be tightened such that only the party to the election and the Electoral Commission should be made respondents.
The man you just heard is Justice Jones Doche. He is one of the two giant contenders that President Akufo-Addo will be considering to replace Sophia Akuffo. The other one is Justice Eni Yeboah. Justice Doche is 2 years ahead of Justice Eni Yeboah by seniority at the bar. However, they were all appointed to the Supreme Court on 11 June 2008, nominated by President Kufuor. This matter would obviously be a difficult decision for President Akufo-Addo, but it is President Akufo-Addo who is more than sufficiently endowed to make such a difficult decision. After all, he's been at the bar for 40 years, and he's the first president who has come to the presidency from an active practice at the bar, before the Supreme Court, before the Court of Appeal, and before the High Court. So, this is his decision to make. If you look at it that way, then the most important case that has affected Akufo-Addo's legal and political life will be the election petition. And both judges, Jones Doche and Eni Yeboah, sat at the election petition and delivered their verdicts. In fact, President Akufo-Addo actually quoted Justice Jones Doche in his concession. Getting further into the case, we realize that Justice Jones Doche, in his ruling, nullified all the votes on the pink sheet that had not been signed, and also said all the votes out of overvoting should be discarded. He said further that after the nullification and the discarding, if neither candidate had won 50% plus one, there should be a rerun between President Mahama and President Akufo-Addo. That's what Jones Doche said. Hear what Eni Yeboah said. He said, and I quote, "I will therefore grant the relief 1 in view of the evidence led and decline to grant relief 2. I, however, as consequential order the second respondent, that is the Electoral Commission, to organize an election to elect a president, as I cannot rely on an election which was seriously fraught with the malpractices, irregularities, and statutory violations proved in this petition, to declare the first petitioner as having been duly elected," unquote. Justice Eni Yeboah was therefore saying that the malpractices, the violations had all been proved in the petition, and it was therefore impossible for him to declare President Mahama as validly elected. Thus, most of the MPP lawyers support Justice Eni Yeboah to become the next Chief Justice. They, the MPP lawyers, must be putting a lot of pressure on President Akufo-Addo, who is the sole decision maker in this matter. However, it is believed that influential cousin of the president, lawyer Gabi Asare-Ochudaku, Attorney General Gloria Ekufu, outgoing Chief Justice Sophia Ekufu, and a few others within the close circle of Akufo-Addo have a soft spot for Justice Jones Doche. But the charge from the MPP lawyers is led by equally influential people: Secretary to the President Nana Asante Bedieto, Minister for Works and Housing Atachi, lawyer Philip Addison, the lead counsel in the election petition, and many more MPP lawyers within government are supporting Justice Eni Yeboah. It is reported that Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Dame will most likely side with the MPP lawyers to throw his weight behind Justice Eni Yeboah, even though he has very close relations with Justice Jones Doche as well. So what's the odds saying? We think that is a 2-1 for Justice Eni Yeboah to be named the next Chief Justice of Ghana, and it is a 3-1 for Justice Jones Doche to be named the next Chief Justice of Ghana. Good luck to both men, and also fare thee well, Justice Sophia Ekufu. We shall always remember and maintain the high standards that you advocated for new lawyers. And yes, Justice Sophia Ekufu, yes, we remember. Our girls have taken your advice. They will wait and buy their own iPhones.
Yourself to some dirty old man for an iPhone or for any type of phone. It is a tool, that's all. One day you will own, you'll be able to buy one if you are patient and you do not throw away your virtue.
Hello. Since Miracle Abuaje's exposure on 2025 Galamsey, he has taken attack from NDC communicators. Alan Chemartin's vice president, called Kwame Danso, even called for Miracle's prosecution. Miracle's Abuaje, undaunted, proceeded to the river bodies to justify his claim that John Mahama and the NDC are enablers of Galamsey. Tonight, he returns to the famous Good Evening Ghana touchscreen to show us the evidence. You can't miss this one. Acting Chief Justice, who criticized the government at the Bar Conference for supervising over increased Galamsey, has now been nominated by the President for the role of the substantive Chief Justice. Justice Paul Bafoboni will appear before Afenyo Markin and the Appointments Committee pretty soon. We'll look at that in some detail. Nana B and the MPP youth lead a massive demonstration about justice, prosecutions, arrests. They say these elements are being weaponized by John Mahama and the NDC administration. Also, in judicial circles, wonders will never end, they say, because Kweku Asasare, former director of legal education and founder of Mount Crest Law University, who supported the removal of Chief Justice Tokonu, now agrees with her that the process only removed her as Chief Justice and not as a Supreme Court judge. We look at the provisions of the Constitution to glean the intendment of the framers. Alhassan Bello says he knows why the youth attacked the Kokrantumi police station. He will tell us why. This, that, a lot more gist, and the glorious celebration of Prophet Annor's 70th will be on the bill tonight. Join us and welcome to the show. Unbelievable that we are back on another Tuesday. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to another edition of Good Evening Ghana, another controversial edition of Good Evening Ghana, another Good Evening Ghana to be talked about. What have I been doing today? My most eventful conversation today was with Annor Akufo-Addo. I visited him in his office in Accra here in Lamoni. We had a nice conversation. The former president is very upbeat about the MPP's chances of winning the next election. He thoroughly enjoyed his time in Kumasi during the funeral, and he's very healthy and hearty and very political still. I was very happy to hear him and his sense of memory, the sense of remembering this and that, and also his sense of constitutional provisions. I was running by him some provisions in Article 1463 and all of that, consultative assembly. He remembers everything, and he gave me quite a bit of education in some of the processes at the consultative assembly and all of that. Even though the Ghana Bar Association, at that time, he led the Greater Accra Bar, did not participate. He was very well aware of the things that happened in those meetings, and we had a good meeting. Anyway, 20 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. Good evening, welcome to the show. Miracles Abuaje is back on the bill tonight, and he's going to show us evidence. The last time he came, he gave us historical data to show that the galamsey problem had begun, began at the time of Professor Mills, especially the water mining of galamsey, the very bad one, had begun during the time of Professor Mills. Miracles Abuaje was able to show us that Annor Akufo-Addo's tenure had the most serious approach to resolving the galamsey issues, including doing so many things. He shows us also that, in his view, President Mahama and the NDC are the enablers of the 2025 galamsey, and we should call them out. Well, he went out there to get the evidence from all the river bodies. He went to Ankobra, he went to Pra, and he went to other places. That video he's put out already, but tonight is our turn to share the video with our viewers. Before that, though, we have quite many interesting things happening. I have to call out the demonstrators of the galamsey, the same way I'm going to call out the demonstrators of the earlier galamsey. That song that they sing, I think it's not good for our country. They have this song, da 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 da, kum we my kum or say or mine. I think that's terrible. It was sung then, it's sung now. They should stop singing, and I'm going to show you the song and call them out. Oliver Vomaho, you're doing a good work, but you don't go at a procession, and these things are not to be played with. The Bible says that the power is in the tongue. The power of life and death is in the tongue, and so we don't say those things because we don't want our leaders to die, isn't it? And we should be very careful when we are singing these songs. Sekou Nkrumah, the other son of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah that we know about, has published an article. You know, yesterday was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's birthday, 21st September, and it comes up for a lot of controversy. Some of us have been called out for trying to rewrite history and denigrate Nkrumah's name. Far from that. We're not seeking to do any such thing. What we're trying to do is to set the records actually rather straight and say the things that everything that we have said have been correct. Nobody has challenged the things we've said, but they always challenge the motive with which we say the things that are true. Should you have an ill motive for saying something that is true? If you had a motive for saying something that is true, once the thing that you said is true, should the motive also be assessed? Anyway, these things happen in politics, so we are fine with it. Sekou Nkrumah, however, has put up an article that we're going to share with you. He largely agrees with some of the things that we have been saying. Justice Paul Bafoboni has been nominated as the next Chief Justice for Ghana. He's going to appear before Parliament's Appointments Committee. We're going to have a look at that in some detail. We'll share some gossip with you. Justice Tokonu is back in court. Tonight, the Attorney General has responded to Justice Tokonu's case in court. The Attorney General says that the matter is properly placed before the High Court. He is challenging the forum. The matter is properly placed before the Supreme Court. He's challenging the forum that Justice Tokonu has begun the matter, where she has initiated the matter in the High Court. She thinks that the matter raises substantial matters of constitutional interpretation. And so we're going to talk about it. Well, next week, Thursday, we have some gist for you about the call to the bar. The call to the bar will occur sometime in October. And say, well, I'm here. The GH1 lady is going to be called to the bar. She was in London shopping recently for her bar clothes. Who was she with? Who was shopping with her? And who is she getting married to? Okay, that's for Thursday. That's not for today. 18 minutes at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. It's Good Evening Ghana and it's live. I'm going to rush the touch screen now to call out the galamseyers, the demonstration galamseyers on that particular song they always sing. I think it's not a good song. I'll say that. But before then, it is my very distinguished pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to add my voice to the many calls that have come from Ghana and all over the world in the Christian community among the body of Christ, wishing this great prophet, Prophet Annor, 70th anniversary of his birth. All of us have benefited from Prophet Annor immensely. Many people and many Ghanaians. He has become the epitome of a good prophet. Whenever you want to look at who is a good prophet, who's a bad prophet, Prophet Annor stands out as the ultimate good prophet. He's been a prophet to the nations. He's been a prophet to our presidents. He's been a prophet to our people. He's guided people's lives. He's guided my life. He's guided the life of my family. He's guided the life of our church. And we always thank Reverend Otabel for discovering Prophet Annor and actually giving him space to operate. Prophet Annor used to be part of the ICGC family. Well, he still is a big part of the ICGC family. What I mean is he used to be at the headquarters at Benin Power Hall, and he held the Thursday Solution Center, which was quite popular. After a while, the wisdom that God gave Dr. Otabel indicated that he should give Pastor Annor space. So Pastor Annor was moved to the ICGC Holy Ghost Temple in Adenta, where many people followed him to go and listen to the mind of God. And Prophet Annor has been a big part of the ICGC story from day one until now. Many people don't know that in his first ambition, Prophet Annor really wanted to be an army officer. He went to the Ghana Military Academy to be commissioned as a second lieutenant. He would have been a lieutenant, and perhaps today he would have been the CDS. But he's not a CDS. He is working for God as a prophet of God. He turned 70 today, and everyone wished him well. You cannot hate Pastor Annor. Pastor Annor has no haters except the people who are of demons and are of hell and are of principalities, as mentioned in the Ephesians. But otherwise, Pastor Annor has no hater. We all love him because God sent him to help the world. This is what we put together for Pastor Annor's 70th anniversary. the Venerable Prophet Yao Annor. Osofu, God bless you now and evermore. As you turn 70, we all celebrate with you. You have allowed yourself to be used as a vessel by God for the blessing and the anointing of many, all of us included. Out of you has come many people who are leading the country today. Many doctors, many lawyers, many carpenters, many dressmakers, many engineers have come out of the word that God has used your mouth to prophesy. On this occasion, we bless your family, we bless your wife, Auntie Wisha, and we bless the Holy Ghost Temple, the church that by the grace of God, Pastor Otabel put you in charge of. We thank you, prophets, for being who you are. May the next 70 years bring you more glory and also more power and a greater eye to see and prophesy, that we may all be blessed. Amen. That's Prophet Yao. No, he's a great man. He's a great man, isn't it? 10 minutes to the top of the hour. Now, these young men have been doing some good work. Young men and women. This is not a political motive. It's a state emergency. Is that Amma governor? Oh, that's her. Okay, I didn't know how she looks like. Okay, I've read about her. All right. Stop Galamsey, stop Galamsey, stop Galamsey. The Democracy Hub, the organization formed by Oliver Vomaho, has been consistent with Galamsey. So they put up another Galamsey demonstration. But here is something I don't like about what they do, and I'm sure many people don't like it. We are doing a demonstration, and I almost attended, but I had traveled and I didn't come early, and so I couldn't make it. I told Oliver that I'll be there. I'll be at the Galamsey event. Oh, I like. Look at this elderly woman. Less gold, more green. I really like this one. Save the children. Oh, wow. This is very, very important. And they put themselves together, and we have to congratulate them for doing that as young people. Next time, I'll definitely join them in support of something that is a good cause. But they were copying something that the earlier Galamseyers did, which they shouldn't have. Let me show you the first song that was sung by Sami Jemfi and his people when they were doing their anti-Galamsey protest in 2024. Have a look. That's what they said. Kum nanado maye na ose o maino. That's something. I mean, in those days we spoke about it. Nobody wanted to hear because there was a groundswell of propaganda against Akufo-Addo, managed by the National Democratic Congress for the sake of election victory. They said all kinds of things. Nana Akufo-Addo is not the kind of person who will be responding and arresting anybody. If you can talk about him all you want, he doesn't arrest. When Manasseh Azuri spoke about him that he has a militia at the Flagstaff House, they didn't go and arrest him for causing fear and panic. Akufo-Addo sued him at the National Media Commission. Manasseh was represented by his lawyer, Samson Ladi and co., and the matter was resolved. Somebody would have said, you say the president has a militia, you are causing fear and panic. Nobody worried him. Akufo-Addo is a true Democrat, isn't he? So he ignored all of these things. Now, today, I saw in the video the Galamseyers singing the same song with John Mohammed's name. And I'm going to call them out and condemn all of these things. It's not great. We don't do that as a country. We are a culture that respects our elders. It doesn't mean we cannot judge our elders. We can judge our elders. We can say they've done wrong, they've done right. In fact, we go to vote against them all the time. We can say anything about them. But to wish them dead is evil, it's wrong. Whether we are playing with it, whether it's a joke, we shouldn't do that. It's very, very wrong for that to happen. Look at this video. I think it's important for us to condemn this, and if you are sending us a message on Good Evening Ghana official, send us a message about what you think about it. We are against it. We don't like that. You can run, you should do the demonstration. In fact, we commend the demonstration. But you cannot say, wish the leader dead. That's wrong. That is very, very wrong. We should not do that. Whether it's Nana-Addo, whether it's Akufo-Addo, whether it's President Akufo-Addo or President Akufo-Addo or President Mahama or President Kufuor or President Bawumia or President Kennedy or President Asedun Ketia or President Julius Debra or President Ato Forsin or President Aruna Idrisu or President Bryan Acheampong or President Educhum or President Paul Adumochiri. You can't say that about the leader. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't say that about the leader. You shouldn't wish the leader dead. It's uncultured. It's not part of Ghanaian culture. It's contrary to how we have all been brought up. You go to do a demonstration, you say, stop galamsey, Mr. President, we don't like that. But you go and say, Kuma, Mama, Yeradi, Kuma, or yeah, galamsey. Did you see Mahama doing galamsey? But that's not the point. He's the policy owner, so he's still responsible for it. But we can't wish him dead. Akufo-Addo or Say or Maino, so we wish him dead. That is something we shouldn't do. And we are going to call them out for that. Hopefully they are listening. Maybe they won't listen. But we all still have to commend the team for putting up a galamsey vigil. This was on Sunday night, I believe, when they put up the galamsey vigil. And we think that they shouldn't do that. That's what we are calling them out on. Yesterday was the Nkrumah's birthday. Sekou Nkrumah put something out. Let's deal with it very quickly, and then we'll come. Sekou was on Accra FM doing an interview on galamsey, which was very good, I should say. So this is what Sekou Nkrumah said. He said, Sekou is my friend, you know. Him and I used to have a lot of conversations. You know me and my left-wing people, you know. Because I used to be left-wing, and then I shifted to right-wing by the time I was 22 years old. I still engage with the left quite a bit. And as I told you, they are quite intellectual. And so I like talking to left-wing people. Acheampong, unfortunately, he passed. But until Uncle Shea passed, Uncle Shea gave me a book. When he died, it became my recollection of him. It's entitled The German Ideology. It's written by a guy called Engels. And you know there was Marx and Engels, Karl Marx and Engels. But this is a book written by Engels, and Akoto gave it to me as a treasure. It discusses the left-wing philosophy. And so I like the left-wing. Kwesi Pratt Jr., you know my relationship with him. Sekou is also on the left, I mean, by the way. And Sekou and I have had a lot of these conversations about the left to right, which is wrong, and all of that. He supported Professor Mills in 2008 election. He was quite angry with what he called the corruption of the NPP. And so I met him after the election, and I was quite sad that Akufo-Addo had been defeated by such a slim margin. And he was teasing me and laughing at me and said that, you know, there was no way Akufo-Addo was going to win this election, blah, 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 blah. Anyway. And then he was, I think he was appointed as a national youth something. Professor Mills gave him some appointment that he didn't quite do, or he didn't want to do, or something like that. I don't know what happened. But here we are. This is what Sekou said about his father. So there's been many people who have been concerned about when you talk about Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, and his policy and his philosophy, they don't even want you to talk about it. They think that Nkrumah is angel, Nkrumah is God, Nkrumah never dies, which we all agree with, and never dies. But there were certain things that Nkrumah did which are wrong, which we have to look at. And I'm very disappointed. I keep saying that I go to a university abroad and they have a course and they are studying Nkrumah. You come to all the universities in Ghana, there's no course in political science, in sociology, in history, which is studying Kwame Nkrumah. I used to talk to Ransford Jampo at those days that the political science department must have a course entitled Poly 203 Kwame Nkrumah, where you study everything about Kwame Nkrumah. Critics, they must have a course. J.B. Dankwa, they must have a course. Now that we have successive presidents of the Fourth Republic, John Acheampong, for study his personality. I'm preparing to write some books about all the presidents of the Fourth Republic, and I have a lot of information to put that material out. We just need time and money to put it out, and we're going to do it. We're going to talk about Rawlings. Fortunately for me, I had met all of them and had engagements with all of them. Rawlings, Mills, Kufuor, Akufo-Addo, of course, very much. Akufo-Addo is the one I've engaged with the most. John Mahama, I'd engaged with him as well. So I want to put up a book about all the presidents of the Fourth Republic. But the political science department and the sociology department at KNUST at Legon must have a study of Kwame Nkrumah. They do it in English universities. They are studying Kwame Nkrumah. They are studying Gaddafi. They are studying Houphouët Boigny as a course where students opt for and go and study Kwame Nkrumah for 2 semesters. We don't have that. So we just hear about Nkrumah in the media and everybody talks what he wants to say. And we don't even have the fact of what he did and what he did not do. We don't have a collection of all his speeches so that when somebody has finished political science, he has Nkrumah on his fingertips. If he opted for that, you can opt to study Dankwa as well. We don't do that. It's not nice. We should start doing that at the universities to make our universities more relevant to the times. Nkrumah was elected by the BBC as the African of the Century. His home country, the premier university, doesn't have a course studying him. Why? And they study it in the School of Oriental and African Studies in London. They study Kwame Nkrumah in London. And they don't study him in Accra. Why? Am I sounding like Professor P.L.O. Lumumba? We shouldn't do that. We should study Nkrumah and study our people, not because we want to criticize them or want to agree with them, but just understand what happened. Where is the theory of what happened? What did he believe in? What did the cabinet minutes say? Do we still have the cabinet minutes of the First Republic? The cabinet meetings they used to have? Are the minutes still there? Those minutes should be given to the university to put it out in a book. That this is the minutes of the meetings that occurred in Kwame Nkrumah's cabinet. This is the minutes of the meetings in Buzia's cabinet. Liman, this is the minutes of the meeting. I have 1 minute that was given to me by the Brigadier General, may he rest in peace. Brigadier Acheampong sent his son just before he died. Of course, I knew him from Burma camp, but he sent his son to bring me minutes of the last meeting they held at brigade headquarters before the execution of the generals. There was like a cabinet meeting, the AFRC, and I believe at that time he was a brigade commander or something like that, Brigadier Acheampong, and he sent me the document, and I still have it. I treasure it. It's almost torn. But anytime I'm packing, I tell my guy, he knows that. He tells me this is the documents, the one that you said some soldier gave to you. I said, yes, keep it. It's very important. He gave me the minutes of the meeting that they had just before the generals were executed. So it's important that we get these documents together, isn't it? All right. This is what Sekou Nkrumah said. He said, but on a deeper reflection, do you know that Nkrumah only occasionally wrote letters to us when in exile? Yes. He sent a few boxes of sweets and chocolates. That was it. We grew up being taken care of by the Egyptian government under Nasser and then Sadat. And the main reason why Fataya jumped to the Acheampong invitation to come back to Ghana after Nkrumah's death was because things were not so good under Sadat. The family was not taken care of as well as when Nasser was around. When his Nasser's death in the 1970s changed the dynamics at so many levels. Sekou says, I respect Nkrumah, talking about his father. I respect Nkrumah for not being a corrupt politician. And although he left nothing for his wife and the kids, I understood that. Oh, why is it not good? Okay, please turn it over there. I think it's freezing. So he says, I will never defend... Oh, it's gone. It's changed. Okay. I will never defend his personal life. I will always defend his personal life. Was I not the only one who took on the fake Onzi? Okay, this Onzi is some guy who said he was Nkrumah's son. Did Samia say anything then? Sekou sometimes likes to throw jabs at Samia that I don't really understand why. I don't know why their relationship is like that. You know, Sekou sometimes throws jabs at Samia. And Samia never does that though, but Sekou sort of does that a bit. He says it here again. Did Samia say anything then? Well, I don't know. But I never felt any difficulty in criticizing Nkrumah as the politician. Why do I have to defend his political positions? Because I'm his son? Only intellectually bankrupt people who have no critical thinking can take that position. It also stinks of hypocrisy, which I cannot stand. Simply put, attack Nkrumah on a personal level and I will fight you. On the other hand, if you attack Nkrumah politically, I will listen to your argument and see the merit or otherwise, and then comment based on what I believe is right or wrong. But I will never just defend everything Nkrumah said or did politically just because I'm his son. Okay. Is that all? Is it going to 10? All right. So that's Sekou Nkrumah's. He says he will never defend Nkrumah everything because he's his son. Okay. Let's build up the momentum on the show as we get to discuss the Supreme Court issues and, of course, Justice Bafo-Boni's elevation potentially to the Supreme Court as Chief Justice. Now, these three gentlemen appeared before the Parliament, the MPP's vetting committee. First, it was Kennedy Acheampong, who appeared before the committee. Thereafter, it was Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia. And then, of course, Dr. Osei Educhum also appeared. We don't know what questions they were asked, but Kennedy came out telling the people that he has a clear mind that the people were quite impressed with him and he's ready to be president of Ghana. Dr. Bawumia also said something similar. Let's first watch the video of Kennedy Acheampong, who left the vetting room first. Let's see it.
So they really wanted to know why I want to be president
and my vision for the country, as well as the party. So I enumerated a couple of points for how I'm going to address some problems. So basically, that was the interview. They know I've been through and through party man for so long. So I didn't face any serious questions, or they didn't antagonize me because they know my potential already. But they asked tangible and reasonable, I would say, reasonable questions. They were not hostile to me, and I was free to answer their questions.
I imagine you plan to use the Asian model to develop Ghana.
I said it there too. I told them and explained what I mean by Asian model. You know, I have seen some coups. Let me explain further. The Asian model, what they did that time when they decided to compete with Europe and America was that they identified potential talents and potential businessmen and funded their projects like Daewoo, Hyundai, Samsung in Korea, for instance. They made conscious efforts to support them by giving them loans. And the loans, what they did was that if Mr. Honorable Sekou Nkrumah decides to build this building, they will ask for the cost of the raw materials and where he's going to get the raw materials from. The government then sends the money to the company manufacturing the raw materials. And they will give you a couple of months. If you tell them the imports or your raw materials or whatever equipment you're going to use will arrive in 3 months. In 3 months, the following week, 3 months, 1 week, we are there to inspect if indeed you receive the equipment. Now, what they do is that the government partners the individual, the private sector. So they will win themselves off when you finish paying the loan. Then it becomes your business. And you know, in business, the most difficult part is the capital. So if government supports you to get the capital and you run it well, you become a millionaire. This is how they've been able to expand their businesses. India, Dubai, all the Asian, that is how the model they use. And I think because Ghana, we don't have capital for our businesses. You know, set up businesses, initially they are very tough. They lack
with them. And today, I'm excited that this process is over. Thank you.
One final point, this about the development fee, 4 million Ghana cedis development fee. Some of the aspirants have raised concerns that it appears that the party is now selling the flag bearer position to the highest bidder.
No, I will not comment on it. This party worked so hard for us to have a party and for us to have elections. If there are contributions, that's the way you build a party. Thank you.
Outstanding candidates are Acheampong and Bryan Acheampong. Both of them will also be appearing before the appointments committee. Bryan Acheampong has a trending video about something that NDC is taking credit for, that he says that he brought up. I'd like you to see it. Have a look at this video. Bryan addressing delegates and talking about cocoa.
And then we talk about ideas. Ideas. The biggest hotel in Africa is my idea. The longest run airport, the airport with the longest runway in the world is my idea. I solved big problems that this country confronted. Ghost names. Removed over 50,000 people from the payroll through my software. That was my idea. All the companies that I ran, functioning, employed, over 1,000 people around this environment, in this community, the growth pool that I've established here, those are ideas translated into action. Those who are competing with me, go to their communities and find out how their ideas have translated into action. But it's simple. Or If you remember, 2 weeks ago, Kudakos Station, Multimedia, they put out that government or Cocoa Board has received $4 billion in deposits. Did you see that? Do you know who caused it? Brian, you are looking at me. When I went to the Ministry of Agriculture, Cocoa Board, I supervised it. They told me that since 1947, we have always gone for syndication. We go for $2 billion, and it's a big deal. Cocoa Sikanaba. And I'm Refi. Underneath that $2 billion that we have gotten is the 10% interest that we are paying. 5%, 6%, 10% interest. So you get $2 billion and you are paying $200 million in interest. I went in there, I said, we have our cocoa. You want to buy our cocoa, but I have to go and take a loan and pay 10% interest and come and buy the cocoa and supply you. And when I have supplied you, you pay the money to the bank that I went for the loan for. It's a bank for us. I'm going to cancel syndication. It was a big deal. I remember very well in cabinet, everybody thought I was on something very strong. I said it doesn't inure to the benefit of this country. These are the numbers. Everybody was against me. President Akufo-Addo took a chance on my decision and said, I will support this. For the first time, 2024, we did not do syndication. Anyway, the strategy was simple. If you want Ghana cocoa, bring your money. You, the buyer, bring your money to us. We will go and buy the cocoa and supply to you. I'm not going to take a loan and go and buy the cocoa, come and supply to you and go and pay interest. Simple common sense, core business calculation. And that is how come I took the bold decision to cancel syndication. And nobody is talking about it. These are ideas translated into bold action that is saving the country a lot of money. And today, the cocoa buyers are bringing their money, depositing. And we are even getting interest on the money. That's the difference. That's the kind of things that I do.
Point of correction, all the aspirants were vetted today. I'm receiving so many texts. Thank you for those watching. They are sending me texts that, hey, all of them were vetted. All 5 were vetted today, including Bryan Acheampong, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, Kwabena Acheampong, Kennedy Acheampong, and also Osei Educhum. All of them were vetted today. We'll get you the videos of the others in due course. That was about vetting. Let's get to our first gist. Miracles Abaji is in the studio, so take your time. Don't worry. He's coming on soon. Let's get to our first gist. Now, last week, we did a story about Justice Bafo-Boni. And this is the story. This is a gist. I'm going to share with you. It's a gist. So there were people within the president's office, inner circle of President Mahama, who didn't want Bafo-Boni to be nominated as a Chief Justice. That's normal. It's natural. It always happens. In politics, that's the game. There were those who wanted Justice Bafo-Boni also to be nominated. So what you do when you have a situation like that, you don't get upset because there's nothing to get upset about political appointments. There will always be lobbying for other people. However you think somebody is qualified, another person has a different opinion. That's the inner circle politics around the presidents of Ghana and presidents of everywhere. So you don't have to get upset that people don't want your choice. They want another person. What you do then, if you can, is to develop and devise a strategy that will help you to achieve the results. Because the president's an individual, he's a politician, he's an individual as a leader. He's going to listen to everyone, and then you have to find a way to sway the president to your side. It happens on a daily basis when presidents are about to make important and sensitive appointments. So the gist is that the NDC people who supported Justice Bafo-Boni, they mentioned to him, the chief, the thing is becoming very tight. You have Amadou Tanko in there, and the lobby for Amadou Tanko is coming from very important, significant quarters. I won't mention the name, but they told me. It's coming from very important quarters. Amadou Tanko's nomination. There's also the age-old Justice Kulendi thing, which is also being captured by some important people around the president. In fact, some of the president's immediate family wanted Justice Kulendi. Okay. And then there are also those who think that Justice Gabriel Poaman has done more than enough to get the situation, something they call the situation. We don't know what it is, but we can surmise that is reference to the Tokonu removal. We can surmise that, but we don't know. So Justice Gabriel Poaman too should be considered for the position. In any case, Bafoboni will end in December 2026, next year. He's gone. Okay. So the supporters of Bafoboni, we heard this last week, told him that, Chief, one of the ways in which you can get this thing is you have an invitation to the bar conference, you speak there. Perhaps you should touch on galamsey, perhaps, because it's real. The galamsey is a problem. When you touch on galamsey, you will be able to attract some attachment of independence to your candidature. Because right now, it is suspected that there has been a railroading of Tokonu out of the seat. And it is suspected that all of us have participated in this process. So if you were to stand one step away and speak about galamsey, which is true and which is public knowledge, you will be able to attach to yourself a certain sense of independence. That will make it very difficult for the government to ignore you as the acting Chief Justice and place another person, because the independent MPP media, the Paul Adomotris of this world, Miracles Abuaje and Nana B and all those people who come on Good Morning Ghana for MPP talkatives and all that, they are all going to point fingers at John Mahama and say that, oh, you see, the guy was acting. Because he spoke against the president, they didn't give it to him, and it's going to paint the president as an intolerable kind of person. Already, the president having to struggle with that kind of narrative. And he's a president who has always been presented as one who is very friendly and who is very tolerating of people who don't like him. And so you see John Mahama smiling with MPP people, shaking hands with MPP people. He seems to tolerate people who don't like him in politics, who don't like his politics. He would like to keep that image. So if you go hard at galamsey, it just might work. That was the lobby. This is what we hear. That was the lobby. It appeared that it was successful. Hugely successful. Because today, here we are congratulating Justice Paul Bafoboni, and who is now being taught about as for all of these civil society independent thinkers, think that, oh, he's a very independent-minded judge. He was acting Chief Justice. He went to the galamsey place and spoke about the issue. Now, why did that have to happen? Why did Justice Bafoboni why did he need to do something to give him a certain sense of independence? Because right from the get-go on the Tokonu matter, it had appeared, and references had been made, that Justice Bafoboni as acting Chief Justice had empaneled, he sat on the panel, Tokonu lost all the decisions, everything was against her, she complained to the Supreme Court and the unanimous decision. At some point the court said they have no jurisdiction because the matters are in camera. All of these things, legal as they may be, clothed with legal legitimacy as it may be, seem to have suffered quite a bit of moral legitimacy. All of these decisions. However much that they were clothed with legal legitimacy because it's a procedure, they seem to suffer a bit of political and moral legitimacy. So in those circumstances, all of the people who had participated may have been suffering some deficit of moral and political. If one of them, the acting Chief Justice, were to speak about this very obvious matter, the Catholic Bishops' Conference had written about it. If he were to speak about it, just maybe he will attract and attach himself with some level of independence. If that happens, he will be the most attractive person for the position in terms of taking the governance box, because the government of President Mahama would not like to be told that, oh, you had an acting Chief Justice. Because he went to the bar conference and spoke against you people, you ignored him for the Chief Justice. So you sort of bottled them into the position. Is that what happened? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But what we can say tonight is that congratulations to Mr. Justice Bafuboni. He's been nominated by the President of Ghana as the next Chief Justice. He's going to face Afenyo Makin and the rest of the Appointments Committee hearing. Where does this leave the rest of the judges? That's the most important question. Now, President Mahama had hinted earlier that in terms of appointments, he would be following on through the seniority. In nominating Justice Bafuboni, that's precisely what the president has done. He has gone to the next senior-most judge to become Chief Justice. When Justice Bafuboni leaves, if he succeeds in the Appointments Committee hearings, and we think he would, if he succeeds, the next in line will be Justice Gabriel Poaman if President Mahama were to keep the agenda of keeping the next senior-most. Where does that leave the rest? This is now the story. Here is Justice Gabriel Poaman. Now, Justice Bafuboni will be retiring on December 2026. He's turning 70, then he's gone. Justice Gabriel Poaman is next in line. If Justice Gabriel Poaman gets the job, according to what President Mahama has said, that he will go according to seniority, Justice Gabriel Poaman will be there till August 2030. There's a crucial benchmark, threshold, epoch that's coming. 2028 December, we are going to vote for a new president and a new parliament. We are going to be entering the 10th parliament. That will be a fantastic milestone of the parliament, the 10th parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. That's amazing. I can't wait for that. God give us life, shouldn't he? And we'll all be there to see the 10th parliament. The brutal one was the 8th parliament. That's what woke all of us up. The 8th parliament, where they had to blows boxing and things before Bagbin became the speaker. Bagbin has become a 2-time speaker, equaling the record of Justice D.F. Annan, the only one to have been a 2-time speaker in the 4th Republic. That's Alban Sumano Kingsford Bagbin. We don't know whether he will be there again or whether he will leave, but we are going to elect another parliament in that 2028 election. Justice Gabriel Poaman, if he becomes, will be there till 2030. So that epoch, he will be the one to see the transition. Whether it's an NDC to NDC, NDC to NPP, it's a transition. He will be the one to see it. Now, who comes next? Is there a next? This is Justice Amadou Tanko. Now, he retires in 2027. So, if in 2026, President Mahama follows the seniority and goes to Justice Gabriel Poaman, certainly, surely, Amadou Tanko would have lost it. If he goes to Amadou Tanko, then Amadou Tanko will be there for 1 year until 27. That will be from 26 to 27, and then he will be gone. I don't know what President Mahama would like to do, whether he would think of, oh, Justice Poaman, don't worry. Tanko has only 1 year. Let me go to Amadou Tanko for 1 year, and then I'll come to you. But that will be offending the seniority concept, because Justice Gabriel Poaman is next senior most to Justice Paul Bafuboni. Now, Justice Gabriel Poaman is senior most because he came to the Supreme Court first. But Amadou Tanko will be retiring before the year that Justice Poaman leaves. So if Justice Poaman gets it, good night, Justice Amadou Tanko. Your Lordship, God bless you. We hope for the best for you. But he's retiring in 2027. Next, Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, our eternal criminal law lecturer, retires also in October 2027. So if she doesn't get it, and Justice Poaman is named, then sorry, we are not going to have another woman on the bench for a while, because Professor Justice Henrietta Mensah Bonsu will be out. She'll be 70 in October 2027, and that will be the end of her Supreme Court's journey, and she will not become Lord Chief Justice. Unfortunately, she perhaps will go down as one of the best people we didn't get for Chief Justice. Very, very, very solid woman, very, very intelligent, very big on criminal law, and very sort of astute, very astute woman, Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu. She retires in October 2027. Who's next? Next in the agenda is my own Lord, His Lordship Justice Yoni Kulendi. Now, Justice Kulendi retires in November 2033. That's after the next election. After the 32 election, he retires. But Justice Poaman goes to 2030. So whoever is present in 2030, if he's minded, Henrietta Mensah Bonsu will be gone, Amadou Tanko will be gone, Justice Kulendi will be the next senior most. And so if they are going by senior most, in 2030, Justice Kulendi should, if the president of the day is so minded, give Justice Kulendi the Chief Justice position. Now, So what should Justice Kulendi do now? Because he's been qualified since Tokonu. He's qualified now. He's gone to Bafuboni. So Justice Kulendi lost to Tokonu. We can't say he's lost to Bafuboni, but Bafuboni has gotten it now. If another person like Poaman gets it, and there'll be some more nominations on the Supreme Court. But whoever comes, Justice Kulendi will be senior. It depends on the president and the government of the day. So Justice Kulendi should hope that whoever becomes the president in 2028 is friendly with him and is good with him. If that is so, if he becomes president in 2028, he can shift the Chief Justice to him 2 years down the line in 33. Is it 2 years? No, more than 2 years. This guy lives in 30. The election is in 32. Oh, so, but he lives in 30 and the election is in 32. So the president that is sworn in January 2029 will be there by the time Justice Poaman leaves, and he can go to Justice Kulendi, who would become the Chief Justice in that sense in 2032. And then he will have 1 year to leave in 2033. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? That's good. that's some good. My guys, my producers put this together for me. They've done very well. They told me they'll put it together. I won't need any help. They'll put it together. And they did. I've seen it. It's very clear. So that's Justice Kulendi. Is there any other person we are analyzing tonight as we congratulate Justice Paul Bafuboni for it? Okay, so Justice Kulendi is the next. Let's keep our eye on this one, and we keep our eye on the vetting. What is the biggest question that is going to Paul Bafuboni? The biggest question is the decisions that the Supreme Court gave in the Tokonu rulings. Why did the Supreme Court do that? Was it true that panels were changed? And all of those things, Justice Bafuboni will confront them at appointment hearing committees because Alexander Afenyo-Makin would be there. Okay. We still have the Justice Tokonu situation to look at, but I think we should look at the Blakwa situation and go to Miracles Abuaje, and then we can deal with the Tokonu one when we have time, or we can deal with it in great detail on Thursday. I don't know whether there's a ruling. Samuel Kujetu has come out for trouble again. Or that Charlie, these days, every now and then you're in trouble small, and then sometimes you're okay small, sometimes you're in trouble small. But I like his green tie. Have you seen the tie that he's wearing? I like it. Can you put the photograph up for viewers to see? I really like it. It's good. It looks very decent. Very nice. Very, very nice dressing from the Foreign Minister. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Has he put on some weight? I think he has. So being Foreign Minister can be very good, because Ablakwa has put on weight. He's wearing. I like his tie. I like it. This is tie. I think he's been wearing it before he became Foreign Minister. So I'm not saying he became Foreign Minister and bought tie. No. We here, we don't do those analysis. Those analysis about somebody has chopped money and he has bought a shoe. The minister has to buy a shoe. President must buy a shoe. First lady must buy a bag. We don't find those things as a problem. What we find as problem is incompetence. When ministers, authorities, people who are supposed to have the competence to do the work are showing gross incompetence and they are letting the nation down, that is when we strike. We don't strike when he has bought a tie, or he has bought earrings, or he has bought some belts, or he's holding some iPhone. We don't do that. Is the demonstration thing ready? We'll have to do it because I promised Nana B that we'll have to look at the demonstration. So after Ablakwa, we'll look at the demonstration and then we'll deal with it. Ablakwa, you've come up for some trouble. Some MP says that you ignored him. Please put up the article. Let's look at it. So this is the Honorable Member of Parliament, the Deputy Ranking for Foreign Affairs. He was given money by the Parliament people and told us, so this is how our important people travel, our MPs. So when you have to travel, per diem is calculated. Maybe you are getting $1 a day. So $1 a day, you're going for 9 days is $9. When that is so, they give you the money. So the money is given to you, the ticket is given to you. On the day of travel, you go to the airport, you put your passport down, the airline people will look at it, you're already on blah, blah, blah. All of that was done. All of that was done. Because he typically was not supposed to go. It is his boss, which is Samuel Abu-Jinapor. Samuel Abu-Jinapor is the ranking member for Foreign Affairs, the former Lands Minister and former Deputy Chief of Staff, Member of Parliament for Damongo. He is the ranking member. And Abu-Jinapor could not make it. So the deputy ranking was to go. Now this deputy ranking was given his money, everything was prepared for him. But the deputy ranking had been very critical of Okudzeto Ablakwa, extremely critical of him. And so, suddenly they said that he can't go anymore. This is what has been written. Ablakwa drops MP from United Nations General Assembly for criticizing him. Well, the minister didn't give any reason why he has dropped him. But this is what journalists are surmising for the reason. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has dropped the deputy ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Nana Safo J. Aye, from participating in the ongoing United Nations General Assembly. As it's been the practice over the years, the chairman of the committee and the ranking member are constant participants in the United Nations General Assembly. The ranking member, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, ceded his slot to his deputy, Asafo-Adjei. To his deputy, Asafo-Adjei. Should I go on like that? Oko Vanderpoy is to represent the majority, whereas Asafo-Adjei was representing the minority. The clerk of the committee this time round was added to the list. The dynamic Bosome Frehu MP readied himself, got to the Kotoka International Airport, only to be told at the counter that his name had been dropped from the trip. When calls were placed to ascertain why his name was dropped, Samuel Ablakwa's PA, personal assistant, sent a message that the minister being Okudzeto Ablakwa, said that they, the ministry, cannot pay for the deputy ranking member because the ministry can only take care of 2 participants, Oko Vanderpoy and the clerk of the committee. What is strange about this development is the fact that Asafo-Adjei's plane tickets had been paid for and his per diem was given to the clerk to be given to him. One wonders why the minister said the ministry cannot bear his expense when it has already been paid for. The reasons for this is not lost on us. Ablakwa is unhappy with the deputy ranking member of the committee due to the following, and this is very important. 1. On May 22nd, 2025, the Bosome Frehu MP held a press conference chiding the foreign minister on how he handled the scandal that hit the Washington embassy. 2. He as well held a press conference on the 9th of July 2025, chastising the government for relaunching the chip-embedded passport and also on the state of Ghanaians in Togo over the political insurrection in the neighboring country. 3. Nana Asafo-Adjei then filed a question in Parliament on 23rd July 2025 for Foreign Minister to respond to the questions he raised in the presser. The Foreign Minister lost his cool by confronting Nana Asafo-Adjei, questioning him over why he first held a presser when he knew he would file a question. I mean, viewers, can you imagine this coming from Okudzeto Ablakwa? Asking a member of parliament that, if you knew that you will put a question for me, why did you do a press conference? I mean, has power so suddenly changed some people? Power has so suddenly changed some people? Power that we saw Akufo-Addo hold for 8 years, Kufuor held it for 8 years. And it has suddenly changed people in months, 2 months, 3 months, they are gone. Why will a foreign minister be concerned that you wanted to ask me questions on the floor of the house? Why did you put it in a press conference? Okudzeto Ablakwa, the one who is the biggest protester, the one who shouted on top of his voice against Akufo-Addo and any person. There was even an occasion when Shirley Ayako-Botwe confronted him in Parliament that you are the ranking member, you have this information. Why do you go and publish these things? Was Okudzeto Ablakwa cancelled from UNGA summits when Akufo-Addo traveled to the United Nations General Assembly, I believe for 7 times? Was there any occasion when the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee was told that he cannot travel? Is that what happened? They should tell us. But I'm worried, and Democracy Watch should be worried, that a foreign minister is wanting to intimidate somebody on the minority side because the person has put an urgent question for him in Parliament, whilst these same questions were given, put to the media at a press conference. Ablakwa should really be explaining that. And I'm very sad. He's a young man with great potential. He should never allow power to do this to him. All of them, all of us, all young people, power should never do this. Power in 7 months. Hey, 7 months, pe. Okudzeto Ablakwa is climbed on the high horse. You cannot ask me a question when you have gone to tell the press. You, Ablakwa, you that the press supports, how much support Ablakwa has gotten from media in putting out his expressions everywhere, going on Adum FM. Now when they play the video, he's angry, saying that if ever any government official uses presidential jets, he will resign. Presidential jets have used, he hasn't resigned. Saying all kinds of things about galamsey, that there should be a state of emergency declared. State of emergency has not been declared. The president says he is not going to declare it. Ablakwa has not resigned. He's with the president at UNGA. And then he has the effrontery to then cancel somebody who was criticizing him that a person cannot travel. The money that a person is using to travel, it doesn't belong to Okujeto Ablakwa. It belongs to the taxpayer, you and I. We hold those resources. And Ablakwa is supposed to manage those resources on our behalf, because we all turned up and voted for John Dramani Mahama. John Dramani Mahama exercises the social contract on our behalf. He decided that Ablakwa should handle the social contracts on the side of the foreign ministry. And Ablakwa decides that the money that government of Ghana has given to me, that I should, the protocol is that the ranking member goes. If the ranking member doesn't go, the deputy ranking goes, so that we can have a report. He decides that that money, whilst it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the taxpayer. I am going to make sure that he doesn't travel to the United Nations General Assembly because he's criticizing him. I think this is very sad. And for those of us who love Ablakwa, we should tell him that you cannot let power get into your head just in months. What are you going to do in 2027 March? In 2028 June, when you have had power for 3 years? What is Ablakwa going to do? Is he going to climb on all of us? Is he going to climb on his car and let the driver drive and be on his car like a palanquin, the way they put the Asante Hene in palanquin? Is that what he would want, to be ridden in a palanquin? Ablakwa wants us to ride him in a palanquin because he's foreign minister. We should ride him in a palanquin? Oh my goodness, this is very sad. The question is, what rights does Ablakwa have to drop the deputy ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee? Why must the MP be sacrificed by Ablakwa for the clerk? When Ablakwa was in opposition, he was constantly bashing Akufo-Addo. He was never denied the opportunity to attend the UN General Assembly in New York. Is this the reset they made noise about? This reset will be subjected to a proper reset in the not too distant future. It's written by P.K. Sapon, a very profound, avid writer, P.K. Sapon. He writes so well. From the whispers, how does he call it? Whispers from the corridors of a thinking place. Oh, Samia Ablakwa, today they have let me down. Very sad, pa. Very, very sad. Because it's other day, and we do. That's not how they trained us. Nobody ever told us to do these things. They didn't tell us to do that. They told us to lead, and he's been leading. But why do you personalize something? How much is it for the guy to travel to New York? What does it hurt you? When they go to New York, will they announce him as foreign minister? When you get to New York, are they going to announce this Bosome Frahun MP as the foreign minister? They will announce Ablakwa as the foreign minister, and you decide that you are foreign minister and this guy cannot travel on the taxpayers' money when you are only a steward. You are just a steward for it, and power can get into our head like that. I mean, this is sad. The government should tell him, the chief of staff should tell him that this is not John Mahama. This is not how John Mahama behaves. This is not John Mahama's characterization. Oh, Samuel Okujeto, why are you doing this to us? Why? We're all excited that you were nominated as foreign minister. Young man, to come and do great things. And then you come and block this one. I don't want to see this one. I want to see this one. Only Kwesi Pratt can come to my office. This one cannot come. Why? Ambassador Kwesi Pratt, are you aware that your son is doing this? This is something Kwesi Pratt will not endorse. I am sure about that. If he goes to New York, what's the problem? What do you lose? What do you lose by? You went to New York 8 times, 7 times with Ayakoboche. Akufo-Addo was in the delegation. You were shouting on him all the time. Akufo-Addo still sees you in New York. He says, hey, ranking member, how are you? And then you smile. What's the problem? We should build a Ghana of unity. We should stop being personal. With taxpayers' money, you are being personal with taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money, you are only a steward looking after it. And you are being so personal like that. You don't like somebody? In politics, you have to like everybody and do what you have to do for the people. This man is not coming to your home at Airport Hills to come and have fufu with you. Bosome Frahun MP doesn't want to come to your house at Airport Hills. He doesn't need it. He's just doing his work. The reason why you have the power to decide is that you won the election. It's not because you are clever. Tomorrow he may win election too. And you have been on the side of losing election. The other day they were saying, Sekou Nkrumah is a great election winner. I said, oh, stop that. Is he not the general secretary that lost the 2016 election? I said, Sekou was there when they lost 2016 election. He was there when they lost 2020 election. Suddenly he's on great election winner. Oh my goodness, Ghana. But it's okay. Election is a topsy-turvy game. This one wins today, this one wins tomorrow. That's a democracy we have for ourselves. So whenever you have won it, be careful. You saw when Akufo-Addo went to the funeral at the Independence Square. Muntaka saw him and he bowed at him and said, oh, Mr. President, shook his hand. And he was shaking hands with other people. NDC stalwarts, they said, hey, that's Nanado. They went and they shook his hand. Because Akufo-Addo knows that power will leave. So when you have power, you have to deliver for the people. He gave the people free SHS. Today, people are slowly crawling back to go and listen to, Akufo-Addo may have been right. But that's all part of the game. But whenever you have the power, don't use that power to deny somebody access. Because that power is not yours. It will go. And you will still be standing there. And we'll all be here. And you expect us to say hello to you. And people will look at you up and down and say, is that you? Today you're not foreign minister anymore, so you're standing here. And you see what people will do to you. And some people have tasted that in this Fourth Republic. I have personally seen it with my eyes. People have tasted that. Somebody walks to somebody and says, you thought you were a minister. Today you are this. And they told them off. And people have heard, oh, don't say that, don't say that. I've seen that. So these young men must be very careful. Vindication is always in the womb of time. I'm hoping that a black man will see this and apologize to this man quietly and say that it will never happen again. He doesn't need to apologize to all of us. No, he just needs to apologize to his colleague in parliament. After all, you're a colleague member of parliament. He won Bosume Freho. You won your seats too. You are the same. So because you're a foreign minister, you embarrass him that he walks to airport, gets to airport as honorable member. He probably has his policeman following him. Hey, honorable, honorable. They say, oh, honorable, sorry. The minister says you can't go. Minister says I can't go. Why? Because he says that the ministry cannot pay for it. Oh, but I've already paid for it. I have my per diem. Oh, no. He says that you can't come. This is very sad and very embarrassing. I'll leave it here. Let's go to the demonstrations and then let's get Miracles Abuaje ready now. So Nana Boache and his team, they led the demo today. Do we have the videos? Okay, let's see the video. It was very well attended. I was impressed. I thought that people were fatigued of campaigning and elections and all of that, and they were not going to attend. Is it photographs or is it a video I'm looking at? Oh, just photographs. Yeah, so that's the video now. Yes, so here they are. Walking on the video. I saw Fante Comedy. I was so happy to see him. He was in the demonstration as well. Now, these people are demonstrating. I think Samia Uku was there too. He was, yes. These people are demonstrating because they say that there's too much arrest, there's too much intimidation with the justice system. They go and catch a Bryan and keep him in forever. The other day, somebody said Akufo-Addo has a militia. They didn't catch him. They just took him to National Media Commission to justify it. The people around the president could have sued Abronya at National Media Commission, but because they don't like criticism, they cannot tolerate criticism, they put him inside prison for weeks. And there was this judge who thoroughly embarrassed the whole judicial system, and everybody was writing about his judgment. In his rulings, he was quoting Idi Amin Dada, one of the most laughable presidents of the African generation. Idi Amin was his reference point to put Abronya in jail. This is what the judge said. Everybody, NDC people, everybody was embarrassed about how this judge conducted himself. People suspected that there was political pressure on him. Other people said there was no political pressure on him. He was just by himself. So today, the NPP, led by their leaders, Nana Boache, that's Fante Comedy. Fante Comedy. I like the way he holds his ear when he's talking. Look, and I like his punk. You know, he likes Chicago Bulls. He's wearing their shirt. And so, I was happy to see young women in there as well. And everybody was marching. And they were marching that they want to send a petition to the president that enough is enough. There was a very significant turnout. I was quite impressed. Somebody said, some MPP person, NDC person who was teasing the people, said that it was Shatawale who released his SM fans to join the Aluta when they found out at 8 o'clock that nobody was coming. I don't really know what that means. That's Miracles in the video over there. He's in our studio today. He's going to talk to us soon about Galamsey. And so this was a demonstration. It wasn't bad. It was very well attended. I hope that the government will pick the lesson. I hope that the government will respond. I hope that the petition will hit the president's desk. It was received by Alexander Segbefia, who is the chief of staff at the office of the vice president, because the president's chief of staff, the Honorable Julius Debra, is in New York with the president for the United Nations General Assembly. There is Miracles Abuaje granting an interview to the demonstrators. I don't know whether we can hear it, whether we can hear some of the sound from the demonstration. Yes. Okay.
Me are not here to joke. We are not here to play. We are here to tell them our feelings and what is wrong with us and what is worrying us. Yes. We are here to tell them what our feelings.
What somebody, a placard somebody was holding. Sami Jemfi, stop enriching yourself while rivers die. It says very interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. Okay, let's go to the text messages. When we come back, we're going to the Miracles Abuaje expose on Galamsey Part 2 tonight. So let's begin with Mr. Kofi and Mr. What are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Eli Obama Tamale says, for the first time in Ghana's Fourth Republic, a massive demonstration has occurred against a government that has been in power for only 9 months. The large numbers on the streets today demonstrate a rapid decline of hope among citizens. Many of those who voted for change are quickly losing trust and confidence in the government. And I confidently predict that the next demonstration in the capital town will be massive. Let's keep pushing for good. Now from Arthur Steven. Paul, I think Ghana is for Okudjeto's father. If not, he wouldn't have done this to this man and Ghana as a whole. Diamond A. Ruth also says, Ablakwa is not emotionally intelligent. He is not mature enough to handle the country's diplomatic office. The Foreign Affairs Ministry is too big for him. And from Prince Henry, Ablakwa is unable to bear the barrage of criticisms being made about him. He can't take a dose of the medicine he served the MPP in government while he was in opposition. You see how unprincipled he is. Now, Angelo, what do you also have for us?
Right, we have Saeed Countryman saying the hatchet job is done and the executioners are being handed their medallions for an ugly thing well done. Well, history will never be kind to Bafuboni for being the guy who carried the axe when he had to protect the sanctity of the judiciary. He continues, However, he loathed the good CJ Tokonu for being unwavering in her service. It will always be the fact that Mame Araba Isaba became CJ before he forced his way to become 2. This is Saeed's opinion. We also have from Osei Tutu saying, I like your calculations with regards to who becomes the next Chief Justice. Let's stop doing politics with everything. Samuel Fotuba says, Ghana's next president must be someone who has integrity and honesty, not to those who are bastions of bitterness, rancor, and always betraying the secrecy of their fellows. Ghana is at a crossroads. Who needs competence and foresightedness to revamp it? She doesn't need loquacious braggarts to be in the culprits and crash the plane. Very, very big words coming from a viewer. Gastiman also says, the government must know that when you silence voices through selective arrests, you do not show control, but you expose fear. Free speech is not a threat. It is the foundation of a free nation. We must remember that karma does not forget. The injustice you sow today may return louder than the voices you try to silence. Ahaji says, Paul, your analysis is based on all things being equal. Who said it's only retirement that can make a judge retire or be removed? The former CJ didn't retire. If she was to run to her retirement, how many would have retired before her time? He also says, incapacity can also make a judge retire, or death. Lastly, we have from Musa Gosu. He says, most of these unnecessary songs being sung at demonstrations are needless, but I can tell on authority that the Mahama song is just setting by Oliver and his cohorts. They just want us to discuss it as you are doing now. They want us to believe the president is tolerant like President Nana Addo, but it won't wash, as the president has already shown his intolerance by threatening that he knows our IP addresses. Paul, back to you.
All right. A text message here. People are texting me that Avril Johnson is senior to Amadou Tanko, so I've asked my people to check and confirm that process. All right. I got a text message here that's very instructive. It's quite long, but I'll try and read it. It says that there is a book entitled Reaping the Whirlwind by Michael Griffin. It details the rise of the Taliban in Afghanistan. I make reference to this in relation to 2 matters on your show today. First is the despicable song that came from the lips of a misguided demonstrator against the sitting president. It was wrong when used against Akufo-Addo, wrong again when used against John Mahama, and will be wrong if it's used again against anybody elected by the good people of Ghana to be president. However, We are reaping the whirlwind sown by my learned friend Sami Jemfi and his friends, not so. See why we should exercise great caution in our quest for political power. Secondly, your analysis on the possible successor of my Lord Bafuboni amazingly overlooked yet another potential whirlwind. What makes you think that the president sworn in January 7, 2029 will not receive a petition from Abronye or Joseph Yamin to trigger an Article 146 action to tokenulize the judiciary as we have witnessed? What if the 2029 president simply decides to bring somebody straight from the bar as CJ? Whirlwinds are swelling in this country in a menacing way. Maybe Prophet Annor's birthday will open our eyes to come to some understanding of how not to bastardize our democracy on the altar of extreme partisanship. Very well written. Thank you very much. A few more text messages coming in, all indicating Avril Johnson. We're going to get the clarification on that, and we will put it out to you. Now, though, Miracles Abuaji has taken his seat. And good evening, Miracles.
Good evening, Paul.
How was the demonstration? You must be tired.
It went well. I think the people came out to make their voices heard.
They said you got Shatawale's SM fans to join you when at 8 o'clock.
Yes, lots of them. Lots of them. I mean, why not?
But they said 8 o'clock nobody was coming, so you had to call on Shatawale's SM fans.
I mean, if Shatawale's fans joined us, they have every reason to, because their man was a victim to the exact thing we are demonstrating against. So we are glad, we are happy they all joined. But there are several people, I mean, you could see thousands of people who believe that whatever it is, we need to have a democracy where people will not feel harassed, people will not be afraid to speak up, and nobody would use the laws to intimidate you. It's obvious that is what is happening. And it's as if when you say it, they say the law is the law. We agree, the law is a law, but we can see it when you are using the law to abuse me. It's so obvious. So yes, it may be the law, but if you break into my room in the middle of the night and you take me into custody and then you keep me for 24 hours and then you give me a bail bond of 20 million, which will require me either 3 months to find them, to fulfill the bail bond. Before you let me go, it's the law, but you using the law to really, disturb or trouble me. If you arraign me before an animal farm judge, clearly it is the law, but that is you using the law
who relies on Idi Amin Dada.
Idi Amin Dada and Mugabe memes. It is the law, but really, it's you abusing the law. I think the NDC members should be worried. Honestly speaking, I always say that the people who should really be worried about what's going on is an NDC member that is also as voiceless as all of us are. Because barely 9 months ago, if I recollect some of the commentary by even media persons in this country, and I compare to some of the reasons why TikTokers and people who are doing Twitter spaces are being arrested for. I
remember the kinds of things Adrian Pahini used to say.
I mean, Captain Smart and co, the sort of things they've said.
About Akufo-Addo
directly, some even impugning murder.
The CDS had to write. The Chief of Defense Staff had to write to TV3 complaining.
Media Commission wrote severally, So it seems as if the government is not busy enough, honestly speaking, with the real issues, with the core mandates. Because otherwise, if they were, I doubt if they will have enough time to be doing some of these things.
You were heavily criticized after your first Galamsey expose. Kwame Danso even said that you should be prosecuted for something called OSCO or SESCO or something like that.
Kwame, I read it and I was laughing. I was wondering.
What is that?
I don't know.
The OSCO thing?
I don't know. No, you should be telling me.
Oh, are you serious?
I have no idea.
But why did he say he should be prosecuted?
I don't know, maybe
as a response to your Galamsey expose.
Yes, his wife is a beneficiary of the government. So I'm sure now, instead of focusing on his movement for change, he's more concerned about the NDC. But he forgets that the Galamsey conversation really, we haven't even gone into the politics of it. If we should go into the politics of it, it will be even much more murkier. I have decided to really stay away from the politics of it and deal with the issues because I've seen the thing with my eyes real time. And you see, Paul, I am able to speak on Galamsey because I am one of the few consistent people
when it comes to the issues of galamsey.
They also said, there should be, you will not support the ban on small scale.
Yes, because I don't think anybody should ban small scale mining. I don't think the NDC should ban small scale.
But that's not the same as galamsey.
Yes.
It's not.
It's not.
Okay.
Why should you ban small scale?
Why are they bringing that up?
Because they were looking for me, probably contradicting myself on the issue of galamsey. They found nothing.
So they were not interested in to verify the facts of what you were addressing?
No. They were looking
that suggests that they knew it was factual.
Of course. So they were more interested in, did he support galamsey, made any comments when they were empowered to support galamsey? Then we would say that he's been double standard. But I have not. When it comes to the issue of galamsey, they can set for 10 years. I have been consistent.
You haven't deleted your Facebook post?
Me. But the videos are there. But you know me, I say my intents even on mass media first before I go on Facebook. If you see me post anything on Facebook, it's something I picked from either a radio interview or TV interview. My position on galamsey has been consistent. And I've always said that Akufo-Addo did not complete the fight against galamsey because of the way the NDC politicized it. And when I was in government, I always insisted. And I called out anybody. You know, when I saw that attempt, I actually put an 8th October 2022 video, 22 minutes, of me dealing with galamsey on CCTV, and I put it out. They should go and watch it. And trust me, anything you hear me say on a subject matter here on Good Evening Ghana, when you hear me speak on Peace FM, you may think I'm reciting and reading. I'll say the same thing. Because I stick to what the principles are. I think that when we speak against a strategy that didn't work in the past, we don't repeat it. And so, when I was telling the NDC in September 2024 that their call for Akufo-Addo to ban small-scale mining was misplaced, I knew that it was misplaced not because I had any interest, but it was because Akufo-Addo had earlier on banned small-scale mining for 2 years, nearly 2 years. And then what happened? Within the period where the ban was on, everything was okay. Then immediately it was lifted, went back to ground zero. So I knew straight away that it's not a sustainable strategy. So why do you come back and say that a strategy we had deployed before should be redeployed in the fight against galamsey? So that is a principle on which I disagree with any government that thinks that banning small-scale mining is a panacea to galamsey. Because you see, it beats my thinking.
So right now, your view is state of emergency should be...
No, I don't agree to that neither.
So what's the point?
You see, let me tell you something. The NDC, they are under pressure because of their own words. When I was saying that the ban on small-scale mining was not a good idea, they disagreed with me.
But they said that...
They insisted, as of September 2024, barely 10 months ago, that there should be a ban. So when I was saying no, they said there should be.
Now they have power.
Then you know what they did? Then they went to put it in their 120-day social contract.
The one they launched there.
Yes, that, don't mind MPP. We are asking them to ban small-scale mining. They don't want to do it. If we come, we'll do it.
It's in the 120 days?
Yes.
As a commitment?
Yes, number 19.
That they will ban small-scale mining?
Yes. And that is why people are calling them to do it.
So they haven't fulfilled some of the 120 days?
No, they haven't. That is why when the president says that 8 months is too short a time, I am saying that I am not asking you to fix galamsey in 8 months. I am asking you to show working. So far, you've done zero.
Like going according to the 120
days. Like fulfilling your own number 19 promise that you ban illegal mining and all forms of new mining in forest reserves. You haven't done it.
The repeal of the LI?
He hasn't done it. The ban on even the mining on forest reserves and illegal mining, you haven't done it. It's number 19. So I am not the one asking you to do, because I disagree with the ban.
So they said they will do it?
Yes, you said
so you are holding them to their word?
Yeah, that's all. So when you
and reminding them that it's actually getting worse, so you might need to do it.
Yeah, so when you go and bring me my point that I made in September 2020, which I still stand by, you've lost the plot. But they couldn't find anything because I have been consistent. None of them have been consistent on galamsey than I have been. Because the things they said and told the Akufo-Addo in 2023, 2024, they are not sticking to it. The things I said, I'm sticking to it. I don't think there should be a ban on small-scale mining because it is not a sustainable strategy. I don't think state of emergency will change anything because, in my view, even the security people we send into the forest reserves...
They get compromised.
They get compromised. My view is that if you declare a state of emergency, you are likely to have some of them even removing their uniforms and doing their mining because then they are alone. So I am not even going to advise the NDC government...
So what's the solution then?
They should implement their promise. They have a 6-point promise.
we want to first of all see them, Paul, implement that 6-point promise first. You do it and let it fail.
So you mean the NDC have done nothing about galamsey?
Tell me one new thing.
Since January?
One new thing. You see, this is what is happening. Akufo-Addo was fighting galamsey with specific strategies. The NDC said those strategies are bogus and that they won't work. Vote for us. When we come, this is our 6-point promise to you. Since they came, none of the 6-point promise have been pursued. What they have done rather is that when the Ghanaian people ask them, what are you doing towards the fight against galamsey? They are showing the exact things that were in existence before they came. For example, send the security into the forest areas and the river bodies, arrest galamseyers, burn chamfans, burn excavators, come and show pictures. That is something that was being done even as at 5th January.
The burning of excavators was a big deal. Akufo-Addo did a lot of burning of it.
As at 5th January 2025, military and police were burning chamfans and burning excavators. So that is not your strategy. Then they say, we have sent blue water guards. In our engagement here the last time, you saw it. Yeah, the only difference is that these ones were wearing yellow, and then the NDC guards are wearing blue. So they have not actually triggered a single new strategy towards the fight against galamsey. Not even one. Not even one. And this is at a time when galamsey is also escalating. Paul, what we saw with our eyes, ask your reporters. We went with them. What we saw with our eyes when we went out there over the weekend, trust me, it's a big problem.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it now. Viewers, this is the video of what Miracles brought to us from the river bodies. Sound.
Na mamifue di omo ka che ne se nka ha ena nka kwesi ada se no ebi kwa benu aduane wa ha de kofie omo mo be senior ma wa ha omo mo sense na kofie sense na kofie no. Look at this beautiful running water. Penny baako a na ye hia no okwan so mo nyina mo hu ye a ode video of nsuo no se na sitie July year yo e de che yen na the comparison nsuo ya na aye ne ya na ano edrin. The Esre Government Communications Minister aha and the region is the man for ewu, the man for a nsuo ennom. What's your evidence? Evidence no yanko fa baby ya fa ono ani krom, ono ani nkrofo ne abefa evidence na iden. Amano. Onhwe evidence here the amani. Na enumanim ya oma omampani ne ndisi aban ensanka. No mo sore prekope. Amafo mo mankro kwanyako asafo. Entumi ntwen se yene galamsey for what Eastern region and Kunwiansa omanya nsu anom ti the essence nka betumi a enemani ya omama boreholes bimra ha ne yensisi boreholes yentutu boreholes ma community no no mutumi nya nsu no boso me ba akone afanie kwanyako Ghana water entumi processing nsu esa de se na nsu na ye no ntomafo nya nsu no yesre ya ba ya bete ma me ba ko se aha no eni simpenifo bebre free ha honorable Awemo Professor Awemo ni ade nyina free ha ya besere omo ye party ne mu mpenimfo omo fa no omano ntum na aban no meye boreholes ma omo manfo no me den omo nom na afi yentu galamsey fo yi so sayiye afi ya de evidence na ba no enhye aban kutupa ne ma no nkranhye na ontu omo so sa eyiye esensane a omo ye ne sisi ara honorable Felix Kwachofosu wo say open evidence no ye de amount yankofa obebi anso wa wukrom na ye befa friye to ho na moman
Okay, there's some more videos to see. This was just alerting Felix Kwachofosu that there is evidence, but let's look at this video as well.
You ask for the evidence. This is your evidence. currently at the Kwenyakon water treatment area. As you can see behind us, the Ayesu River is what we see behind us, and you can all see how bad the situation is. We've already been to other locations together. We saw the Mankron situation. We've seen the Enuma Pepem situation. Yesterday, we also saw the situation at the Upper Dentra East area and how mining is happening blatantly right on the highways and how it's destroying our water bodies. We are having this conversation this morning simply because of, for us, the body language and the posture that the government has taken. We believe that it is a posture that doesn't inspire hope and doesn't encourage us and give us the assurance that the government is willing and ready to deal with this galamsey menace. As you can see, and I'm sure you've already gathered from the community, more than half or about half of the central region currently do not have potable drinking water because the Kwenyakon water treatment plant has been shut down. The community members tell us that this is something they haven't experienced before. That they have never seen this Ayesu River here looking this way. Very, very bad. It's never been like this until about 2.5 months ago. The very painful aspect of it is that the community members, or even in this district, Agona East District, Agona West, Gomoa Central, and all of its adjoining districts, none of them have mining going on in their areas. And so you have a community that have nothing to do with mining. They don't know what gold is in terms of seeing raw gold. They have never been engaged in mining before. Right ahead of us here is somebody's farm, which we have to walk through and come here. And they have to suffer the consequences. So this community is struggling. About half of Central Region do not have potable water because there is active galamsey going on in the Eastern Region, somewhere in the Yeswano area, to be precise, where we are just coming from. And the repercussion or its negative effect is being felt by hundreds of thousands of people in close to about 11 other districts in the Central Region. Think about it. The mining is happening in the Eastern Region, and you have over 11 districts suffering the consequences when they have nothing to do with mining. Now, the Government Communications Minister, Honorable Kwachio Fusu, tells us that we can only tell him that galamsey is worsened if we show him proof. This morning, our friends from the media, the mission here is to present the proof to Honorable Kwachio Fusu so he can pass it on to the President and the government and let the NDC government understand that there is enough proof that the galamsey is worsened. And today, many more districts who hitherto 9 months ago were living their peaceful life and going about their lives without any stress cannot get water to drink because of the escalated nature of galamsey across the country. We are worried because the NDC government has a record and history of always muddying our water bodies whenever they are in power. And we are not the ones saying it. The data proves it. Indeed, if you go to the Water Resources Commission website, there is enough evidence that shows that before 2010, when galamsey escalated in the manner we are seeing today in this country, we had 40 water sites that were being tracked by the Water Resources Commission. As of 2010, when this galamsey we are seeing popped its head, 40 of these sites were fairly good water. Now, with the Water Resources Commission Water Quality Index, what they do is that they use the turbidity level of the water, including, in addition to the nutrients, and 2 other indicators to come up with the water quality. And that is why I make the point that only the turbidity level cannot be used as a measure for the quality of our water. And for all of us to be on the same page, the Water Resources Commission has been tracking our water quality since 2005, and the data is available for all of us. Today, as of December 2024, the Water Resources Commission Water Quality Index clearly indicates that by 2010, 40 of our water sites were fairly good. When the NDC government was in power between 2010 and 2016, this is what happened. By 2016, the 40 quality water, fairly good water that we had reduced to 15. And 25 of this fairly quality water have now become poor quality water. Let me repeat it. Between 2010 and 2016, the NDC government, which President Mahama was then a vice president and a president at some point, had moved our fairly good water from 40 to 25 poor quality water, and only 15 of these water were fairly good water. It tells you that we have every reason to be worried. We have every reason to be concerned if we are not getting enough assurance from the president looking at his track record. Because between the period of 2010 and 2016, when he was vice president and president, our water bodies deteriorated to a very poor state. Now guess what? When the MPP government took office, between 2017 and 2024, the 25 poor quality water that we inherited were reduced from 25 to 10. And so by the time Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was leaving office in December 2024, the 15 fairly good water that the NDC government left had increased from 15 to 29 good water. It means that in the 8-year period, the MPP government managed to improve our water quality by reducing the 25 poor quality water to only 10 and increasing the fairly good water from 15 to 29. Indeed, we had even good quality water by the time we were leaving office in 2024. Galamsey is not politics. And that is why all our time in government, I insisted that the NDC were charting a very bad course if they continue to make Galamsey political. I am of the view that the NDC's posture and conduct in opposition and how they publicly went into the Galamsey areas and encouraged and enabled the Galamseyers is one of the reasons why the MPP government struggled to fight and win the Galamsey fight. Because for 2 years, between 2017 and 2019, when the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the MPP government placed a ban on Galamsey, we saw evidence that the water bodies that were looking muddier than this would be clean. We are appealing to the president and the NDC government. Our lives are at stake. The future of this country is at stake. People cannot find potable quality water to drink. The Central Region example is only one example. The reasons and the excuse he gave us through the media engagement is not one that engender hope. It is one that points to he enabling Galamseyers and simply telling the Galamseyers that if they manage to get the gold, whether through foul or fair means, he is ready to buy them. Again, he confirmed through his press engagement that indeed he could be buying gold from Galamseyers to as much as $4 billion out of the $6 billion he has exported. That for us, we believe, is a cause for concern. Because if the president is giving us an indication that he could be buying illegal gold from criminals and exporting, and that is what he is anchoring his government's transformation plan on, then we cannot trust and believe that he is going to put measures in place to end Galamsey. Because should he succeed at ending Galamsey, what he is telling us is that he may be running short of $4 billion out of $6 billion possible export. We are begging, pleading, and appealing to the president and the NDC government that we beg him, he should prioritize our lives and the environment over money. And that we are not interested in how much money he's getting from these criminals. He should stop buying the gold from the criminals and get them off our river bodies so we can have water to drink, so we can have quality, proper health care. The turbidity levels data we have seen clearly indicates that much more of our water bodies' turbidity level have deteriorated and worsened. And this is not we saying it. This is the Water Resources Commission saying it. Indeed, if you want to move away from the data to how these things can be proven with their impact, that is where we are standing now. The fact that the Kwenyako water treatment plant for the first time have had a cause to shut down the water plant. This was not the case barely 3 months ago. And we've shared with you visuals from the quality of the water some 3 months ago. And if you look at it and you compare it to the current situation, I doubt if you need any more evidence than we are seeing now. Sad situation. The fact that the people of Kwenyako, Agona East, Agona West, Gomoa Central, and close to 11 districts do not have water to drink and do not have water to even wash their things is evidence enough to show that the situation has worsened. And we are sure that now that we have presented this to the government, they will take some decisive action and not continue to repeat the same old strategies they spoke against and present them to us as evidence of what they are doing. What we are saying is that the NDC government should show us new alternative ways of fighting galamsey and not repeat the things that were done in the past, for which reason they said they could do better and came to office. They gave 6 clear promises to the people of this country when it comes to the fight against galamsey, one of which they've already exhausted the timeline. They said in their social contract with us that in the first 120 days, they will place a ban on all forms of small-scale mining. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the easiest thing any government can do. Like Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo did in April 2017, 3 months in his office, 8 months is too long a time for our government to be showing and dragging their feet in the fight against galamsey. So if you take a look at the Pra River and you see how polluted this river is, that is almost stagnant now, much more dirtier than Milo without milk. I don't think we need any more evidence to show our government. Strangely, this morning when we came here, 22nd September 2025, at exactly 11:30 a.m. when we flew the drone, as you can see, these are people on the Pra River mining in the Acheampong, and that is what is there, real time, happening now. And so if the government say they want evidence to see how bad the situation is, well, we have traveled all this way to get them the evidence from River Pra. So this is the Ofin River, the famous, legendary Ofin River. And if you see how stagnant the Ofin River is right now, and you see how muddy the Ofin River is a sad situation. And yet, the government says it wants evidence. And so we had no choice than to come here and give the government the evidence they require. Today is Monday, 22nd September 2025. Here we are on the Ofin River, and you can see the little children who are mining right inside the Ofin River. And there is a likelihood, a very high chance, that the Republic of Ghana is buying gold from these little children. That is a call for concern. When we got here, one of the strangest things we noticed is that right beside where this galamsey is going on is a police barrier. The police barrier is just across the street. You can see the police barrier from where we are standing and where this mining is ongoing. And yet, government says it needs evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in very, very deep trouble. Little children on the Ofin River mining in broad daylight, right beside the highway, police barrier right here, and yet our government says it needs evidence. You can see, apart from the chamfans, you can see the excavators. The excavators actively mining today, 22nd September 2025, right beside the road on the highways from Chichere towards Dunkornofin, towards Ekropon. You can see galamsey happening actively on the Ofin River, and our government says it needs evidence. The excavators are right there, as you can all see, right before our eyes, and you can see the dead Ofin River. Felix Kwache Ofosu, Honorable Minister, you asked for evidence. This is the evidence right in your eyes, and this is your countrymen actively mining this afternoon, destroying the Ofin River, destroying our future, destroying our lives.
The Meliga minor could be out. The down one now from the banchi in a way. Banchi in a way. This are banchi away. Say, in the point as you pass, as no banchi so Obama Okuma. No, which banchi man, you put the same case banchia. No one for arguing before. Susan of a boy, now, but how was the man? In here, draw a man attention as I put there. No 1 week and a month of two. Or they are stop illegal mining. You winning 120 days. Also, we place ban on illegal mining. But hey, I had to figure out what it's like illegal mining. It is so ongoing.
Yes, young said, no, you say it. So come cry. But I'm saying you started say a change color. Tia Tracy and you who said, one to galamsey war, Eastern region, ho baby. Now affect. But I wish a young area, I'm going to see this year, Chimfuna. Baby, I knew to galamsey.
I used to say, I the ever saw me say, I will share no way now. Yeah, see, as soon as you friend media and 2 pennies. A jolly head, my Air Force and I, the jolly.
One woman on my woo. Son and Biaron, so media and son of media driver. The best son of a say, Abraham. They'll send me in the star. The strap I say, so no, on share my end. Because you pay now to be a quine, or be any say. I didn't soon sound so Abraham, it's an American star.
The whole central, one on Sansi, and empty from one papa Yankee, oh, it's nice. The Empress and Bruno or my on papa Yankee, oh, it's nice. Secretary Jane, ye be a liar, but was here and so here. You could call a dam on a box side. Everything we have. Hey, look.
Yeah, you need to galamsey air coso. Now, I use river, a far in the source, Edifi Eastern region. Into outside Konyako, Aguna East, the Ancasadia, and yet galamsey course, a bear affect here, you by the Eastern region. Now, yen and I did to say, by a 2-3 months, and I is when it out. So you do to me the out to me. Just as I say, Nema Abrabon cost fine. But I see I bear 2 to 3 months, and I'm galamsey on your Eastern region. Babisi, and nay, and I'm a Suya say.
I hear Mancron or friend Mancron, then you share the hay. Nay, crazy, fair, Numune, yes, I am no, ye did Jarier, Bia, but in the Amikasi, Bianua, or say should be obscene and she I poto, I say.
Same should the ebinim to borehole. No brim so hand dug wells. What's that? Near one so kitwa be so that sweat rope and na CCR students yesไปakọ secondary school for ina and na wo mo yeah bridge na so wo mo na wo kosa.
Government Communications Minister Honorable Kwache Ofosu was say open evidence pransuo no ene da ho no ensuo no ana akagina fakwa enko no pransuo ena yese milo a milk nim no pransuo ena chamfan esiso ene 22nd September 2025 11:30 am a nkrofo guso a omoye adwuma no evidence na wo pe no enu nie Honorable Kwachi Ofosu wo se wo pe evidence offensuo no enene yaba ho ewo Upper Dencha East heyi offensuo ena akagina fa ko ensuo nani aye potopoto no Honorable Kwachi Ofosu enkola ena gina offensuo ho a omutu galamsey ese ensuo no infuo ena ese no empenifo etu galamsey enkola etu galamsey banchifuo ena galamsey ensuo eguso sa no Honorable Kwachi Ofosu.
Wow. What an expose. Let's see what people are thinking. Mikael, let me start with you.
The video you just showed on your show. My worry is, how will the NDC fight galamsey when they make noise that the gold board is making enough profit from galamsey gold buying? He says, I'm sorry for Mother Ghana. Abbas Muftal says, thank you for the evidence, Dennis Abuaje. The Sami we saw yesterday is different from the Sami in office today. What is happening, Ghanaians? We have also Reggie Bully saying IP man is watching, or I think he's referring to the president. And lastly, Guma says, Mr. Paul, I have a very simple solution to galamsey. All the government needs to do is buy cooking oil and be polluting the sites they visit. If you do that, the galamseyers will work long hours and will not get the gold. This is practical. Either you pour the cooking oil in the pits or their source of water, and they used to wash the gold, and the galamsey will be a thing of the past. Very interesting solution from Guma. Kofi, what do you have for us?
Okay, so Raymond Insult says, it's good that Brother Miracle keeps exposing the group of people who came to power purely through propaganda tactics. Unfortunately, they succeeded in scamming the Ghanaian people to get into power, but their actions are not surprising at all. Good work, bro. Keep up the good work. And from Yao February, every well-meaning Ghanaian has witnessed the NDC government's special way of treating members and sympathizers of the NDC when it comes to arrest and dealing with court case, and in the other hand, intimidating, frustrating, and arresting and political persecution of MPP members and past appointees. Looking at how far we have reached in the democracy, abusing of power and using state security against opposition members must stop now, and all Ghanaians should be given equal treatment before the laws. Alaji Bob CD says, Paul, God save Mother Ghana from Pharaoh and his kids. Without God's intervention, the country is doomed forever. Assalamu alaikum, Paul, and my regards to Vincent Eko Asifwa. Lastly, Shifman Osei says, I am surprised that Ghanaians still trust this very deceitful Mahama government, which even doesn't trust themselves in fighting galamsey. All the approaches have been cosmetic and nothing better is ahead of us on this galamsey menace. The change we voted for really is a disaster. I am very sorry for living under the NDC. Back to you, Paul.
Congratulations. So
it's a sad
so you went with the media.
Yes, it's a very sad situation. You see, one of the things we should also put on record is we've gone through all this pain not because Ghanaians are not already aware of the galamsey menace, but it was because the government actually challenged the citizens to provide proof to a worsened situation. It meant that
Felix said that.
Yes, it meant that
the government didn't want to accept the reality. And that was a concern, because the agency with which they will deal with the matter depends on how much premium they place on it. Because, I mean, Carly Bishop came out to speak. TUC actually told the president to his face on May Day that they are telling him that galamsey has escalated. But if the government said they didn't believe it, then we had no choice than to provide this evidence. And what we saw with our eyes, it's not as if they are mining in some forest, like they keep saying forest reserve. The Ofin and Pra one is not in any forest reserve. It is right on the river body, on the roadside.
And these are sources for water for Ghana Water Company.
Yes. So when I hear even people make it look like it is a forest reserve matter alone, it's as if it's deliberate to take our minds off what the realities are. This is by the roadside, Paul. We didn't have to walk anywhere. We just parked, and this is galamsey. If you are driving on the bridge on the Pra River, you see the galamsey. On the Dunkwa.
Which region is this?
Central region.
Wow.
Chufi Praso and Dunkwa on Ofin. So if you're on the Ofin Bridge, you see galamsey. In fact, when we go to the Ofin River, there was a police checkpoint right there.
Yeah, you said it in the video.
The whole neighborhood is full of noise from the machines and the motors. So I don't understand what's going on, honestly speaking. My issue is, one, the first two reasons why Nanado and the MPP lost the elections would include galamsey. Two reasons. It would include galamsey.
Especially the voting in those areas.
Paul, 2 weeks to elections, Ransford Jampo, Professor and co were agitating for organized labor to go on an indefinite strike because of galamsey. For the first time in the history of this country, we had protesters protesting on the street of Accra for 1 week continuous because of galamsey. So if you win an election on the back of this, and 9 months into your governance, we don't see any blueprint towards the fight, we have a cause to be worried. And we are not asking you, let's also put it on record. The president and the government should stop talking about we only 9 months. Nobody is asking the NDC government to clean the Ofin River in 9 months. We are saying that we want to see what the plans are. So far, what we see is that you are buying the gold from them.
So you are enabling them.
You are enabling them. Because basically, if you are buying the gold from them, then we are suspicious that may be the reason why you are dragging your feet and you are being lackadaisical.
During the MPP time, who was buying the gold from the galamseyers?
We don't know, because it's crime.
So government was not buying?
No, because it was crime. You see, if you say that, like the president said, if you say that, well, it is our money and it is our environment they are destroying, so whether it is legal or illegal, we'll take it because it would have gone into private hands in the previous state. What you are saying is that your son is an armed robber. So long as he is able to go and steal and rob and is not caught, and he brings the money home, you will spend. A country cannot be seen to be exporting proceeds of crime. This is blood money.
And benefiting from it.
This is blood money. You understand? And so we just want the government to take action. We are not saying you can clean. No. We know that even when you are fighting it, the galamsey situation will still fight you, because there will still be people in the forest doing it. But show us working. Something different. Don't come and do the same thing you came to meet and say we should applaud you. Like they started doing last week when we started talking about this. Now all of a sudden, all of them were showing us videos of chamfans and excavators being bent. Paul, we are importing now 200 excavators per day into the country. Into this country. 200 excavators per day into this country. Which contractors are using 200 excavators every day? So clearly, you are aware that these excavators are going into our river bodies. So what are they talking about? The pretense, for me, is the worry. This thing is happening right by the roadside. Why are you acting like it's not there? And it's escalated because the Ayesu River we went to in Kwenyako was not like that 3 months ago. In fact, Metro actually showed the Ankobra River on 26 December 2024. I don't know if Apreku has that video, and he can show you. And if you look at how that river was on 26 December 2024 and how it is today, you don't need any evidence to show you that galamsey has escalated. And those are the realities. Those are the things we are talking about. And for me, my concern is that You preached specific promises when you were in opposition. Just do it. You do it and fail. Then at least you can tell us that, well, I thought this would work. I have done it, but it's still not working. But you are sitting down. You are even challenging the citizens and asking us to provide you with proof without even taking any action on the simple things you promised. That is a worry. Then when you say, they will say, but the MPP was like that. Why do you think we lost the elections? One of the two reasons why we lost the 2024 elections was because of galamsey. We cannot lose the elections and then you come and do it anyhow you want. Then they will tell you that, those who kept quiet during the Akufo-Addo era cannot be seen to be speaking now. Paul, those who spoke during the Akufo-Addo era and are quiet now are no different.
They have more to answer.
They are no different from those who kept quiet in the Akufo-Addo era and are speaking now. You were speaking in the past. Why are you quiet now? Now that it's worse. And then somebody was quiet in the past, but the person is speaking now. Why are you complaining? How different are you? You are no saint. You are no patriotic than that person.
Well, as for Acheampong said, the MPP has no basis to talk about galamsey because they were doing it and he said something.
He's wise.
He responded.
For the man who was screaming on top of his lungs, calling his own colleagues disorganized and telling them that they had been manipulated by politicians to keep quiet, to be quiet now when the situation is worse, he is the man that should be home by now crying and explaining to his children why he's behaving that way. I told you that Ransford Acheampong chased me midnight, late night, to get Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to sign a pact. Why is he quiet? Today, when you ask him about galamsey, he'll be jumping around the bush.
No, he says MPP have no basis to talk about galamsey.
But who has the basis?
Because MPP were prepared.
Who has the basis? He does.
Yeah, maybe he does, or
then,
some.
You know what? If Ransford Acheampong was speaking now, maybe those who didn't speak in the past will not speak, because after all, there will be a voice fighting for it. But you are quiet. That's why they are speaking. So if you don't want them to speak, then speak. I don't want to personalize.
How is he going to speak against the government that he's part of?
But that is the point. So you see, if you don't want those, if you're not happy about those who were quiet in the past and you don't want them to speak, then speak up. Why are you all quiet? Did you see the demonstration that was done yesterday? The government-funded demonstration.
Oh, the Oliver Bama.
Yes.
How is the government funded?
He himself said that he did a post. I can send it to you now to put it up.
And he said what?
He did a post thanking the government for members of the government for their support and contribution towards the organization.
Well, it doesn't mean government. It just means some people.
But what does that mean?
That doesn't mean the central government paid him. It means some minister who likes what he's doing.
But what does that mean? A minister of state.
Yeah, or some appointee who likes
so it's the government sponsored.
Oh no, that's different.
Why is it different?
Government sponsors, official government sponsors.
But who am I?
But individuals among the government is different.
But if somebody in government does something, you can say members of the government are doing something.
Well, if an individual does, you can say that individual.
Let me fix it. Members of government sponsored demonstration. Doesn't work.
Some members of government.
Some members of government.
NDC people.
Some members of government sponsored demonstration. Doesn't work.
Yeah, that's better.
So you see, think about this.
Yeah.
Think about this. The members of government are sponsoring demonstration against themselves.
Well, because they agree with his position.
No, because they are preempting. What they are doing is that they are creating an impression. They are trying to create an impression that, some people are doing it already, so nobody else should do it. And that is why when other voices speak up, these people will tell them to keep quiet. You didn't speak in the past. Listen, we are not kids in this country. We understand the scenario. We know the dynamics. And we are not going to allow anybody to gaslight us. I can decide to keep quiet today, tomorrow I'll speak. It's my right. You can't take it away from me. So don't come tell me that I didn't speak yesterday, so I cannot speak today. Why are you quiet? You spoke yesterday. Why are you quiet? I chose to keep quiet yesterday, but I've decided to speak up today. The situation is dire. Listen, in the past 1.5 months, half of Central Region have no water. They cook dirty water before they drink.
Are you serious about
that? Yes, but it's in the video. Call Ghana Water. The Kwenyako water plant that supplies almost
there are
about
many schools in Central Region.
It's shut down.
There are many schools there.
Kwenyako Secondary School children, they go to a small stream to go and fetch water, which is already polluted with chemicals from the Ghana Water plant. It's a very serious situation.
Central Region?
Yes, here, which is like 30 minutes away from Accra. You go through Boduasi, you are there. That is the situation. That is how dire the situation is. And then you have people saying, keep quiet, because yesterday you didn't speak. Yesterday you spoke, but today you are quiet. It's my turn to speak. Keep quiet, let me speak. The situation is bad.
I see.
The situation is so bad. Kwenyako Secondary School and all the secondary schools you know in the Central Region, Paul, they are fetching water from the ground. And even that one is dangerous water. When we went to Kwenyako and we went into the community, it was a sad situation. the old women, the children, they were all running to us, some crying. They said that they had a little stream that they fetch water from. But now when they go there, they have to wait for 3-4 hours before they can get half buckets. Because you know how these streams work. If there's so much pressure, it runs down. That is how bad the situation is. So we are not saying galamsey wasn't there yesterday. Have you heard me say that? Galamsey has been there. The form of galamsey we are seeing now has been there since 2010. I have admitted that. And I've admitted that when Akufo-Addo came, he did everything, but he couldn't succeed at it. I have admitted that. But the truth also is that this government made galamsey their #1 campaign message and promised the country that they will fix it with a strategy. They gave 6-point specific strategies. They haven't implemented even one.
We'll deal with that. We're running out. It's almost midnight.
Thank you.
42 minutes past 11 o'clock, 20 minutes to the top of that midnight. Thanks for staying with us, viewers. Good night.